Want to know exactly what someone is thinking? You don't need psychic powers, you just need to ask the right questions. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 questions that can reveal anyone's deepest desires, regrets, and priorities. These aren't ordinary questions. They're the kind that cut through small talk and get straight to the truth. By the time you finish watching, you'll know how to read anyone's mind, understand what drives them, and even predict their choices. Stay focused, because these 5 questions are simple, but the insight they give is incredible, and it works on anyone. Question number 1. What's the most important thing to you right now? This first question may seem easy at first, but it is very important. Most talks stay on the surface. Individuals speak about the weather, sports, or how their day is going. But this question cuts through all of that. It makes the other person stop, think, and show what their life is really about right now. What makes this question beautiful is how exact it is. When you ask right now, you strip away the layers of what they say they value in theory and show what is at the top of their mental hierarchy right now. People will say, "my career." And from that one statement, you can tell that their worry, energy, and daily sacrifices are all about desire and success. When someone says, "my family," you know right away that they are making choices based on love and protection rather than personal benefit. Someone who says, "just trying to stay sane," shows a whole other world, a world of struggle, survival, and hidden struggles. Marcus Aurelius said in Meditations, "If you want peace, do less, or to be more precise, do what is necessary." This inquiry gets to the heart of what is important to them right now. It tells you how they define tranquility, purpose, and need. When they answer, they're not simply saying what they like, they're also showing the reasons behind all of their selections. But you need to pay attention to more than just the words. You need to pay attention to how they are said. Look at how they say it. Does their voice get higher when they get excited? Do they become excited when they talk about it? That enthusiasm shows that you care. Or do they look down, sigh, and say the words almost as if they don't want to? That heaviness symbolizes stress, duty, and even hopelessness. This is where the Stoics give us another important piece of advice. Epictetus said, "First tell yourself what you want to be, and then do what you have to do." Your priorities define who you are. You can learn a lot about someone by finding out what they say is most important to them. The person who says money wants to be safe, powerful, or free. The lady who says health wants to be strong, able, and in balance. The parent who says family is trying to be a protector, a source of affection, and a rock of stability. And sometimes the best thing to do is to wait. When someone can't answer right away, it usually signifies they don't know where they are. They are going through life without a defined goal, going from one demand to the next. Seneca once said, "If a man doesn't know where he's going, no wind will help him." People are at the mercy of circumstance if they don't have any priorities. You can tell right away if the individual you're talking to is traveling with purpose or just drifting around by asking this question. You get much more insight when you repeat this question over and again over time. Things change. Someone who formerly said success might later say peace. Someone who formerly said love might later say freedom. These changes not only show you how the person is doing right now, but also how they've gotten to where they are. You can observe the quiet story of how they've changed by how their priorities change. Lastly, think about this. The response to this question not only shows you their world, but it also shows you where they are weak. If their job is the most important thing to them, failing at work will break them. If it's familial, family problems will hit them hard. If it has to do with health, sickness will scare them. The things people care about the most are also the things that make them the most vulnerable. This is why this one question is so strong. Not only does it help you read someone's thinking, but it also lets you view the innermost center of their life. You know them once you get it. Question number 2. If you could change one thing about your life, what would it be? This question is like looking into someone's soul. Everyone has the silent burden of what could have been with them. The pathways we didn't take have as big of an effect on who we are as the ones we did take. When you ask this question, you give someone the uncommon chance to talk about a part of their life that they usually keep to themselves. Seneca once said, "It's not that we don't have much time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." These phrases sum up regret perfectly. Time slipping away while we do things that don't really important. When someone tells you what they would alter, they are confessing that they wasted their time, energy, or heart. Maybe they spent years in the wrong relationship or stuck in a job that drained their energy for too long. Maybe they didn't take care of their health until it became a prison. Every answer is a confession, and every confession has a narrative of suffering, loss, or longing behind it. What makes this question so strong is not simply the answer, but also the pause before the answer. Pay close attention. Some people answer right away, almost too quickly, as if the remorse has been waiting to come out for a long time. Some people hesitate, their eyes darting around and their voices shaking. The truth lives in that quiet space. If they completely evade the issue, laugh awkwardly, or change the subject, you've hit a nerve that is too painful to touch. Their dodge is not a lack of answer. It is the solution. Epictetus said, "Men are not disturbed by things, but by the way they see them." This is the heart of regret. Two people can have the same experience, but one person learns from it and grows, while the other person sees it as a prison and dies. When someone talks about what they would alter, they are also showing how they see their past. You can tell if they are still shackled by it or if they have turned it into wisdom by what they say. And here's the truth: regret always has a secret wish. The desire for knowledge and discipline lies behind, "I wish I had studied harder." The need for boldness is behind the words, "I wish I had been braver." The desire for health and strength lies behind the phrase, "I wish I had valued my health." Desire looks ahead, while regret looks back. When you listen deeply, you're not just finding out about their previous grief, you're also finding out about the optimism that still exists in them. Marcus Aurelius told himself, "Don't waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people. It will keep you from doing anything useful." People often waste their lives fretting about things that have already happened to them. It's not the regret itself that makes things bad. It's letting regret take over the moment. When you ask this question, you can see if someone has learned to let go and go on, or if they keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Another thing to think about is that regrets show weaknesses. The individual who lost money on a bad investment will probably be careful with his money now, maybe even too careful. The woman who regrets trusting the wrong person may now be very careful about who she trusts. People's thoughts are shaped by regret, which makes them see every new chance in a different way. You can find out where they are most vulnerable and where they are most guarded by finding out what they regret. Seneca said, "Life goes by quickly while we wait." Most of the time, regrets come from putting things off, including the risks we didn't take, the words we didn't utter, and the dreams we put off until it was too late. This question makes someone deal with those delays. And at that moment, they show not just what they lost, but also what they still want to get if they are given another chance. So what makes this query so revealing? Because it shows the hidden space between who they are now and who they wish they had been. And once you know that gap, you can see what makes them tick, what makes them who they are, and what still bothers them. Question number 3. Who do you admire the most? Admiration is both a reflection of the self and an acknowledgement of another. When someone tells you who they look up to, they are not just telling you what they like about that person, but also what they want to become themselves. People we look up to are really just reflections of our own hopes, fears, and unspoken wants. Epictetus said, "Show me a man you think is successful, and I will show you the values you hold." In this perspective, success is never only about having money, celebrity, or power. It shows what we value, like bravery, wisdom, patience, or kindness. When someone says they appreciate a brave leader, they are really saying that they want to be brave, make decisions, or have power. When people respect a quiet, humble thinker, they are showing that they want to be more at peace with themselves, have more control over their thoughts, or comprehend things more deeply. People you look up to are secretly teaching you about their priorities and the things they wish they could change about their own lives. Admiration is seldom incidental. Marcus Aurelius himself often watched the people around him, like his instructors, family, and famous individuals. He did this not to copy them, but to learn from them. In meditations, he thinks about what he learnt from each of them, like how his grandfather was strict, how his father was honest, and how his teacher was wise. When someone names a person they look up to, they are showing what they value. It's not just admiration, it's a blueprint of their character and a guide to who they aspire to be. The depth of what they admire is also important. Do they care about their accomplishments, such money, celebrity, and social status? This generally shows a desire for outside approval, safety, or recognition. Do they put a lot of thought into values like wisdom, bravery, and kindness? This shows that you want to build your inner power, moral greatness, and long-lasting happiness. Seneca said, "The poor man is not the one who has too little, but the one who wants more." People who admire virtue over materialism are generally trying to find true wealth, which is mental and moral richness, instead of short-term gain. The way they talk about the people they look up to is just as telling. Do they talk with awe, respect, or desire? That level of intensity is typically a reflection of how strong their desire is inside of them. Do they talk to you in a casual or dismissive way? That could mean that you are jealous, unsure of yourself, or want to have the same traits. If they can't think of anyone, it could mean they don't know what their aims and values are, like a compass that doesn't point north. Admiration serves as an unspoken admission psychologically. People don't often admire something they already have. Someone who is stuck in chaos may look up to someone who is calm. Someone who is afraid may admire bravery. A person who can't make up their mind may look up to someone who can. In other words, appreciation often shows the holes, things they think they don't have and want to work on. You can learn what people value and what they want to become, even if they don't mean to, by paying close attention. Marcus Aurelius knew that role models might have a big effect on how people act. He didn't only see good things in other people. He used what he saw to make decisions every day. He wrote, "Stop arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." When you ask someone who they look up to, you're really asking, who do you want to be? Their answer is the invisible blueprint of their character, the silent map that tells them what to do, what to want, and how to act. This question also lets you see how they think. Admiration based on external success may indicate a mindset that is future-oriented, goal-driven, or even competitive. Admiration based on moral virtue typically shows that someone is thinking about themselves, has self-control, and is trying to master themselves. And sometimes, contradictions come up. For example, someone might appreciate bravery in public, but secretly want peace, which shows a conflict between what they want and what they have. Finally, the practical effect of this question is quite important. You can guess what someone will do next, how they will react to problems, and what their life will be like by knowing who they look up to. Admiration is a way to see into the human mind that few other questions provide. Because in the end, knowing who someone looks up to is more than just knowing what they like. It's like seeing a map of their mind. It's like witnessing the compass that guides their choices, determines their goals, and quietly tells them what to do every day. You can read someone's thoughts by watching, feeling, and understanding them, not by magic. Question number 4. What's a decision you regret? Regret is one of the best ways to learn about someone's inner world. Regrets have more emotional weight than casual thoughts or opinions. These are the times when the decisions we made or didn't make had a lasting effect. When someone talks about a regret, they're not just talking about something that happened in the past. They're showing a part of themselves that most others don't see. They are letting you see the choices they made that led to their fears, wants, and values. Seneca said, "A poor man is not one who has too little, but one who wants more." In other words, regret often comes from not getting what you want, or not getting what you want. Someone who regrets not getting a promotion may still want to be recognized or have an impact. Someone who regrets a failed relationship may be secretly wishing for the connection, trust, or devotion that was never reestablished. Regret is a sign of what is most important to a person, even if they don't show it, because of pride, composure, or routine. When someone answers this question, pay attention to their tone, body language, and hesitancy. These things might tell you as much as the words themselves. Some people talk quickly and brush off a mistake, but the rushed tone and fast glance suggest that the recollection is still there. Others stop and look for words, which shows that the regret is closely linked to who they are and how they see themselves. A long, contemplative quiet frequently means that the person is regretting anything that has affected or impacted their current choices. Epictetus said, "No one is free who is not in charge of himself." Regret is a subtle way to tell how well you know yourself. People who can think clearly and calmly about the choices they made in the past show strength and wisdom. They have dealt with their regrets, learned from them, and changed the way they act based on what they learned. Others, whose regrets still control them, show where fear, impulsiveness, or not being able to make a decision still guide their actions. Listening closely gives you a better understanding of a person's strengths and weaknesses, which are the hidden factors that affect how they deal with problems, relationships, and chances. Regret can also tell the future. It shows the patterns that a person wants to avoid or repeat. Someone who wishes they had moved faster in their job may now take advantage of chances right away. Someone who wishes they hadn't acted on impulse may now be very careful. Marcus Aurelius said, "Stop arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." How someone has reacted to remorse shows if they have learned from it or are still stuck in a cycle of making mistakes. Regrets also show what values and priorities are important to someone. When someone regrets not having enough money or missing out on possibilities, it usually means they really want safety, independence, or control. A regret about relationships shows how important love, loyalty, or being honest about your feelings are. A regret about health or self-discipline demonstrates that you know you will die and that negligence has a price. Every regret tells a tale about what someone really values, the basis for all of their decisions. Regret also makes psychological walls that you can't see. People change how they act so they don't make the same mistakes again. Someone who regrets trusting the wrong buddy may now be wary or cautious when it comes to relationships. Someone who regrets their job choices can now be too cautious or too ambitious, depending on what they lost. Knowing these limits helps you guess how people will behave and understand worries that people don't always talk about. Seneca said, "Life goes by quickly while we put things off." Regrets frequently stem from procrastination, deferred decisions, squandered opportunities, or restrained bravery. This inquiry makes someone face the fact that they put things off. The way they answer shows how they see their past, as a chain that holds them back or as a teacher that helps them move forward. Finally, regret is very closely linked to being humble and open to being hurt. It takes courage to share a regret because it shows the side of a person that recognizes they aren't perfect, that they made a mistake, and that they have learned. You can learn about their self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and potential to evolve by seeing how they deal with this weakness. Some will share honestly, showing that they have thought about it and are wise. Some people may avoid, downplay, or explain away their feelings, which can show guilt, pride, or unresolved tension. Both answers give us important information about how their minds work. Essentially, inquiring about regret not only exposes previous errors, but also elucidates the patterns, anxieties, beliefs, and aspirations that influence current conduct. It lets you view the hidden factors that shape a person's choices, giving you a straightforward way to grasp their thoughts. It is one of the best ways to really get to know someone, since it combines the past, present, and future into one moment of truth that shows everything. Question number 5. If you had 1 year left to live, how would you spend it? This is the most important test of your values, goals, and honesty. When the vista gets very narrow, all the surface layers people wear, the social masks, the diversions of job, and the chase of status fall away. When you ask someone how they would spend their last year, you make them think about what they really care about when they know they don't have much time left. It's a question that gets to the heart of life. Relationships, experiences, meaning, and legacy. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now." Let that decide what you say, do, and think. These words show how quickly death may happen. When someone realizes they don't have much time left, their priorities become clear. In that moment, their answer isn't just a guess, it's what they've been doing with their lives without ever knowing it. Look for patterns in how they answer. A person who chooses to spend their last year with family shows that love, connection, and belonging are the most important things in their life. If someone says they would spend their time traveling or going on adventures, it means they really want to be free, explore, and have real experiences. People who wish to leave a legacy, help others, or develop something that will last are motivated by the desire to make a difference, have an impact, or achieve immortality through their work. The choices show the axis around which their life has always turned, the real why behind their decisions, beyond what they seem like or what they feel they have to do. But there's more going on than meets the eye. The manner someone answers a question can also tell you a lot about how they think and feel. Do they talk with joy, eagerness, or longing? That shows desires people still hold dear that haven't been met. Do they hesitate, stutter, or talk in general terms? That could mean they are scared, unsure, or sorry, a realization that they haven't fully lived their life yet. Stoic thinkers comprehended this tension profoundly. Seneca said, "It's not that we don't have much time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." When someone has trouble answering this question, you can see where their life has been put on hold or gone wrong, as well as where their buried passions or wounds are still hurting. Epictetus stressed the significance of deliberate existence. Do not elucidate your philosophy. Make it a part of you. If you ask someone how they would spend their last year, you can tell if they are really living by their ideals or just saying they are. You may tell that someone has internalized their beliefs if they answer in a way that shows they care about others, are wise, or are brave. If their answer is mostly about money, comfort, or small things, you see a life limited by fear or distraction. This question is, in a way, a measure of how well your actions match your goals. There is also a subtle psychological dimension to this. This question shows that the person is aware of death, which is one of the most powerful ways that people see life. People will sometimes try to avoid thinking about death by making it seem abstract or far away. But how they answer this question shows how they feel about death. People who answer clearly and with conviction indicate that they are open to new ideas, brave, and know what is most important. People who fail may still be in denial, holding on to the idea that they have all the time in the world. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do every act of your life as if it were your last." People who can answer this question on purpose frequently live their lives in closer harmony with that idea. This question is the last of the 4 questions that came before it. You now know what they care about most, what they wish they could alter, who they look up to, and what they wish they hadn't done. Now that you perceive things from the point of view of finality, you can see how these parts come together to form ultimate priority. Their answer tells you what they care about most, what motivates them, and what they think makes life worth living. It is the most honest look into their soul. You get a glimpse into their inner life that is almost prophetic when they answer honestly. You know the choices they make every day, what drives their goals, and the small worries that hold them back. This one question, more than any other, shows how their actions are in line with or out of line with their most important ideals. This is not merely a query, in other words. It is a compass. It goes straight to the core of who they are, who they want to be, and how they deal with the little time they have. When you hear their answer, you get a sense of their thoughts, what matters to them, and how they live by their own rules. You don't have to trick or play games to read someone's mind. All you need are the right questions. These 5, about priorities, regrets, admiration, unhappiness, and death, show what people normally keep to themselves. The Stoics thought that wisdom was not about telling other people what to do, but about knowing how people work. Epictetus taught us how to tell the difference between what we can and can't control. These questions give you control over perception, which lets you understand clearly what other people value, fear, admire, and hope for. You'll never look at discussions the same way again once you learn how to ask good questions and listen carefully. So keep in mind that people's thoughts are not like closed vaults. They are like open books. You only need to know which pages to ask them to read out loud.